Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Debbie, from Teacher Success Coach with another episode of the Female Educators Roundtable. And today we'll be looking at homeschooling / home educating. It depends on which part of the world you are. If you're in the UK, it is home schooling, I think. If you're in other countries, it's home educating. I think so. I can't remember which way it goes. Anyway, it basically is the same thing. Right. So
Yeah.
today I've got another homeschooler, home educator who is going to share her journey with us from across the world. She's not from the UK, which is wonderful. So at least we're hearing the different world view in terms of homeschooling, home educating, and what some of the challenges are. Thank you, Ashley, for accepting to come on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for accepting the offer. I'm really grateful for that. Introduce yourself.
Hi. Okay, so my name's Ashley, and I've been homeschooling for 8 years. We just finished up our 8th year. I have 5 children. I have 2 12-year-olds.
Sorry.
Okay. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 5-year-old. My children have never entered the traditional setting. We had originally signed my 2 oldest for preschool, and the state that I live in was having some budget issuing. They had teachers that were going on strike, after school programs that were being shut down, and my husband and I just did not feel comfortable putting our children in a system that just did not seem stable at the time. And we had looked into private education after that, and that just did not seem like something that would fit our budget. So we decided that we were going to homeschool. We had no idea what we were doing. Both my husband and I were public school educated, and nobody in our family had homeschooled. We had little to no support. I mean, my parents and my in-laws, they were just, we'll see where this goes. But some people questioned. They were like, there's a private school right down the road. Just send them there. And just a minute. Hey guys, you have to go to the living room, please. But now some of the people that were kind of naysayers, they're seeing the results, or they're seeing issues that we've had since COVID within the education system, and they're encouraging their family and their friends to take a look into it, because the children are thriving. And yeah.
Wow, thank you. So is as a result of you not following the traditional rule, right? What was some of the backlash you had in what somebody the saying they had in terms of why were you educating? What were some of the things they were saying which you felt was negative, but you wanted to show them?
Being qualified or not qualified. So the resources that are out there are innumerable. There are numerous, and there are probably thousands, if not millions, of resources. Now, not all of the resources are good, and not all of the resources fit every single family. There are different aspects to homeschooling. There's different styles, and sometimes it takes time to find the style that fits your family. We had started off with classical, and we're still very strong in the classical style. I do some unschooling. It's what they call it. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like kind of like where we are, but I'm very relaxed in our style. Like, I'm not handcuffed to a certain style. So whatever seems like good for that day or that season in our lives, that's what we're going to run with. I'm never handcuffed to a certain style. But for the most part, it was whether or not you seemed qualified or not. And the curriculums out there are astounding. Just they've 20, 30 years, some of them have been out, and they've stood the test of time. Also, the socialization is the number one question. How are you going to socialize your children?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they're just locked at home all day. Like they don't ever get out. I don't know. But that question always makes me laugh because our children are very active. We have friends over all of the time. We have a Bible study with all of the neighborhood kids. We go to church. They have dance classes that they go to. We have been involved in co-ops. There's all sorts of going to the grocery store, even the post office. Please. Living room, please. Making friends with the people that go on walks regularly down the road. I mean, my one son, he could tell you all the names of all of the people that walk down the road regularly, and he always stops them and has conversations with them all the time. So they are not improperly socialized as some people seem to think.
Yeah. Thank you for that, because the interesting thing about that, this is always a question that people get asked, or how are they going to be socializing, etc. But what they fail to realize is at school, the children are socialized with children their own age group. They don't socialize across the board. And that is not a healthy thing.
No, it's not, because whenever you grow up and you get into the real world, you realize that no, I'm not doing that. You realize that you have to make conversations with from newborn to 80, 90, 100 years old. There is a gap there. There is no other time in your life that you are going to just be with people that are in the 1 to 2 range of your age. It's never going to happen again, ever.
Exactly.
And I don't really love a lot of people my age. Like I tend to lean towards people that are a little bit older.
Yeah, exactly. And the sad thing about it is in mainstream education, the children that are the same age are grouped together. So then you say to yourself, what are they bringing to each other when the experience most times are very much the same?
Yeah, and the teachers, they're overworked. They have 20 children that they're right now, please. They can't filter all of that. They can't watch all of that. And your children are being exposed to stuff that you probably don't want them to be exposed to.
Yep. Thank you for that. Another thing is what a typical day looks like for you guys, because you have 5 of them. So, what do you guys do? Give us a typical day, please.
Okay, so typically, I allow the children to wake up whenever they're fine and dandy. Like I am not one that wakes them up at a certain time of the day. So normally my oldest 2 are up by 7, and they will spend some quiet time until the other ones wake up, which is typically around like 9-ish. In that time from when I wake up until then, I am tending to the animals. I am making breakfast. I am spending my quiet time reading. And then after everyone's had breakfast, we go outside and we have outside time. And then we'll come in and we will either do a read aloud with everyone as a whole, or I will do certain subjects, whether it be math or spelling or reading. Those are the 3 subjects that are for us that are one-on-one time. Maybe not right now. Okay. One-on-one time. So what I mean by that is my oldest 2, I have a math program that I can hand them and tell them to go ahead upstairs, do their work, and when they're done, or if they have any questions, come back to me. During that time, I will spend time with my 8-year-old with whatever subject it is that we feel is pressing for that day. And then I will probably 20-30 minutes in that range, and then she'll go off and she'll play, and then her younger brother will come in and it'll be his turn for me to spend that. And now he's 6, so I'm not going to ask him to sit for 30 minutes. 10-20 minutes tops, please. Not enough. And then after that, we'll typically have a snack, And then after that, they'll have a small amount of outside time. I have to go outside. We have chickens. I need to check on our chickens to make sure that they still have all their needs met. And then we come back in and do another subject. And we'll do that, the rotation, and I'll make lunch. And then after lunch is typically when we have like our family style time, whether that be science or history. That's usually the things that we do together as a family. I will get, I'll use curriculums that are more family style that I could read them a book. But then when it comes to the questions or they're going a little bit further into it, it's at their level. So questions that I would ask my oldest two are not the same questions, and I'm going to ask my 6-year-old. And then after that, if we have time, they'll do their independent reading and clean up, tidy up the house, and then they're free to do whatever it is that they want, whether it's play outside or play their video games, whatever it is that they feel that they want to do. So I have time to get dinner ready.
Okay,
so the
thank
days are
you.
full. Very full.
Okay, so what time roughly would that be?
I usually have everything wrapped up around like 3-4 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll start our day typically around 10 to 4. Now, all of that time isn't me sitting down doing stuff with them. There's a lot of time for snacks. The kids like to have a lot of snacks, and then we go outside. But yeah. So if I had to put it in like an amount of time that we spend during the day on actual schoolwork, it would be 3, maybe 4 hours at the very most. And that depends on the age range, because right there, brush right there. They're in the bathroom. No, a pink one. Come on, please.
Hello. Are you going to say hello to us? That's one of the beauty of homeschooling, right? The fact that you're hands-on and you're right there with your children.
Yep. So I was saying, so my youngest, who is, well, my youngest is 5, but we're more doing play right now. So at most time I spend with him is 20 minutes tops. My 6-year-old, hour, and that's at like the very most. Now I'm like my 8-year-old, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then my 12-year-old's 3-ish, just a little bit more than that. As they age, I tend to add on, half hour, 45 minutes to each of their time. And that's not something like I sit down and I think I have to add this time and I have to add this time. It's what happens as they grow. Their needs change, and you have to continue to expand so those needs are met. Please put the book on the table, please. On the table. Thank you.
So what are they doing now? Have they got work to do right now?
No. My youngest 2 are painting, and then the other ones are cleaning up the house, and then my daughter is getting ready for a sleepover.
Okay.
She's going to go. She's getting ready to go to bed.
Okay.
Summer break for the most part right now. We're on our summer break for the most part right now. I do consider myself someone that schools year round, but our summertime is a lot more relaxed than the rest of the year. So during the summertime, I will make sure that they read something once a day independently. They have their independent reading. And then I will alternate one other subject, whether it be math, spelling, or reading. But I don't really. Now, if it's like a day where it's, pouring down rain, or they're just like going crazy, then we'll sit down and do some more. But usually summertime is their independent reading, one subject, and then the rest of the day they play. They get into their interests. They discover their interests. What do they like to do? And that's, they go from there. It gives them time. It really gives them time to think about and, choose through different things and, decide whether, do I like to paint? Do I want to learn how to crochet? Do I like to garden? Do I like to spend time learning about how to tend to animals? Am I into drawing? Do I like to build things? Stuff like that. It just allows them time to filter through all of the things in life and just not even decide on one thing because they're kids. Like they don't have to decide what they want to do forever. Just do I love this? Yeah, okay, I'm going to spend time doing this because I have the time to do it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Another thing is, in terms of their socialization, do they go out with other homeschool children? Do you have a network of homeschoolers, etc.?
Yeah, in this area, it's a very big homeschool area. We did not do a co-op this year, but all of the other years, minus like the year after COVID, and I didn't opt out of the co-op because of COVID. It was just all of my kids were toddlers at that age, minus my two oldest, and I was tired. I didn't want to get them ready to take them out anywhere that early in the morning by myself. It was exhausting. But yeah, this area is very, very large homeschooling. There's lots of people that homeschool in the area. It's a very homeschool friendly area.
All right. Okay. So thank you, the area you live in, do they say that you have to follow a curriculum or do you have to follow some pattern? What is the criteria in your area?
So in the US, every state is regulated differently. In the state that we live in, it's probably one of the most regulated states. However, the law was very bold and very broad. Like there are certain subjects that we have to teach, but not aspects of that subject. Now, whenever they get into like high school, the later years, they tell you a little bit more on like what you need to teach, like which in math they need to be taught algebra and geometry and stuff like that. But for like science, if we want to spend time just learning about animals, we don't, or whatever, they don't tell you exactly what needs to be taught. They just tell you these subjects need to be covered.
Okay. So you could teach it in however form you want to teach it.
Yes.
Okay.
Now they do have like the stuff that's used in the public schools. You are able to get that from the schools and use it in your home if you choose to.
Okay.
That is an option, but it's not a requirement.
Right. Okay. How does the children feel in terms of being at home all the time?
They like it. My daughter is a little bit more social than my other children, my boys. I have one daughter and four boys. My boys, they could care less. But my daughter, she definitely likes to spend time with her friends and her cousins and getting out and doing things.
Right. Thank you for that. Do you think that, the fact, do you think that there's two questions I want to ask you. Do you think that you're qualified to teach your children?
I do.
Why?
I do. I think that anybody can read. Anyone that can read is capable of teaching because there are so many books and so many resources out there. If you're not finding the resources, you're not looking. There are so many that are out there. And if you can read, you can teach. And even if you're not like an avid reader, you can still teach because there are programs out there that can teach you to teach.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is a common question everybody who start homeschooling get asked. How do you know you're qualified to teach your children? And that is such an interesting question because the fact that you have produced them, you know them more than anyone else. You just exactly you just send them to the school for us that we're trying to understand your children, but we don't know your children. So the fact that you have brought your children to this world to me, it is just natural that you are the natural teacher anyway, because when they come, you are the first teacher. So therefore, that just shows naturally in
Yes,
terms of the
yes,
progression.
yeah. And a question I pose to that is, so you think that I'm unqualified, but instead you want me to send my children to the system that you think made me unqualified? Like where was there any growth? If I'm not qualified after I've gone through what you guys are putting out, why should I keep doing that? Like why should the cycle continue? Somebody needs to stand up and say that enough's enough. This isn't working and we need to do something different.
Yeah, that's a fantastic statement. Eh? It's a powerful statement. And it is such a true statement. Because if the person is not qualified to teach their own children, what has the system done? It's actually failed you. So therefore, it's going to definitely fail
Yeah.
your children. That is so very true.
Yes, because things are only getting worse. They're not getting any better. Things are getting worse.
Yeah, yeah. That's so very, very true. It's interesting in terms of all of that. Thank you, do you feel that homeschooling or home education are more powerful than the traditional education in terms of equipping the children for the world out there?
I think that we need to step back from placing that responsibility on the educators. I think that that responsibility falls on the parents. I I I don't think that one or the other makes the child more capable of stepping into adulthood. I think that that's the responsibility of the parent, and that parents need to take that back. However, I get more time with my kids than those that use traditional methods. Those that use traditional methods, their children aren't getting home till 3, 4 o'clock in the evening. And by then you have to have dinner and your baths and homework and sports and all of that other stuff. I have time to focus on that, but I don't think that we need to divide between the two, because if the children aren't properly prepared for the world, it's the parents. It's the parents. Take your kids back.
Mhm, mhm. It's interesting because the beautiful thing about it is you actually flip it back onto the parents in terms of taking back their responsibility, because a lot of them don't do that. They've actually handed it over to the system that is destroying the children because that system did not really work for them, you know.
Yeah,
And it's interesting
yeah.
because
Your
I
child
do.
grows up and you think
Yeah, sorry.
if your child grows up and you think that they've like failed them, like they have grown up and been like failures, that's not the system's fault. It's not. It's your fault. They're your kids.
Mhm.
You need to be responsible for them. Any education route that you use is simply a tool to help you parent.
Yes. Yes, that is so very true. That is so very true. Thank you. One of the sad things for me as an educator is during parents' consultation evenings, you hardly get any parents coming to find out how the children is doing. And during those sessions, the parents that you need the most don't turn up, because the parents whose child are having challenges, who in terms of, you want to reach the parents so they could reach the child, you're not having those parents attending, so you're still at a loss. You still cannot support that child much as you ought to, because the parents are not coming, so you could have that one-to-one consultation. So
Yeah,
in
and
terms of
it's
that,
very sad.
yeah, yeah, it's quite a sad thing, because you're left feeling lost and asking yourself what next. It's like I've got a child in the school I'm teaching now, and I noticed that the last 3 4 weeks he just sits, because it's a new class I've taken over. He's, let's say, 8, so therefore he's about 12, probably 12, and he just sits in the class and he does nothing. So I said to him, I said, why is it that You just don't do anything. Even though I'm saying to you, okay, come on, let's do some work. You tell me you don't feel like it. Tell me blank, you don't feel like it and it's not working. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So today I was saying to him, I'm going to call your parents. I said, because I don't know what to do or how do I need to support you. So I said to him, how do you think I could support you? He said, Miss, I don't know. I said, do you think I could call your parents and, they will be able to help me to support you? He said, Miss, it's not going to work. Why not? He said, Miss, because I don't like school.
Good job. Yeah, and that's very, very sad. And it's the reality of many, many children in this world.
Yeah, yeah. He told me he doesn't like school. And I said to him, okay, I hear you don't like school, but you're going to be, 12. You have the other 6 or 8 years. So
Yeah.
we need to find something to work with.
Yeah. Yes, we do. I have a friend of mine, one of her children, he's failing all of his classes, he's failing. All of them. And I spend time with him and I talk to him and he comes to our weekly Bible study at my home. Boy's a genius. He's a genius. Just the conversations that I can have with him, he's not interested. He's not interested. It's not that he's failing and that he's not a smart kid. He's a genius and he's falling through the cracks of the system. And it's sad.
So what is because I'm sure you've advised your friend. So what is she decided to do?
She's thinking. I think she's spending the time this summer to think. I have encouraged her. I have told her what she can do, what she's capable of, what's out there. She has a lot going on. She's a single mom, so it's hard. But
yeah, because she would have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of surviving, isn't it? That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one because I know that probably some parents would like to homeschool, but financially they're not in a position to do that because it also means giving up the job. But people could also homeschool. It doesn't have to be giving up the job. They could do it on a part-time basis.
Yeah, they could. There's lots of working parents that still find the time to do it. It's I hear so often that people call it homeschooling is a privilege, and it's not. We are not privileged at all whatsoever. We are a family of 7. We go on one income. We sacrifice. We only have one vehicle. We rarely go out to eat. We just make sacrifices financially so that I can stay home, so that we can give our children the childhood that we want to give them. Alarm going off. I gotta go. Okay. Yeah, it's not a privilege. I hear that all the time that homeschoolers are privileged. I don't know any rich homeschoolers. I don't. I know homeschoolers that sacrifice. They sacrifice to get to be in the position to be able to stay home with their children. And you don't have to stay home. You can find jobs where you work from home, or you find jobs where you can one parent works one shift and the other parent works the other shift, or you just you find a job where you work 3 or 4 days a week, and then the other few days a week you do homeschool. You don't have to homeschool your kids every day. Like you don't have to. And you don't even have to do it during the day. You could do it in the evening. Like if you have a grandma or an aunt or someone or anybody that you feel comfortable with them staying with during the day, and then after you get off of work, do something with them. Yeah. You don't have. There's no schedule that says this is when you learn, because you learn all day long, 7 days a week.
Thank you. Do one of the things some parents were doing when they started homeschooling was doing it in a very prescriptive fashion. Everything was methodical like the school. Do you see homeschooling as interweaving with everything you do?
Interweave, yes, I do. Because if I spend time cooking, and I take the kids and I have them help me cook, well, they've got to measure things out. If they've got to count, if there's something that involves problem solving, or, critical thinking. They have to take that time to think it through. You're not just teaching somebody whenever you open a book. You have to have life skills to be able to function in society as an adult. And if you don't have those life skills, you're not going to make it, or you're going to have to spend a whole lot of time backtracking and learning those skills later in your life. Mommy.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Okay, the final question. What tip would you give to anybody who wants to homeschool their children but is anxious, is fearful, feel that they're not good enough to do that, and feel that they would fail the children?
I would say do it. Definitely do it, because I would ask them to take time to look into their local school. Look into the success rates. You're able to go on the internet and you can see where the children are pouring out in math, in reading, and that sort of thing. You can do that. And if they're not, then, you can't do any worse than worse.
I like that one. Actually, that's such a powerful statement. You can't do any worse than worse. That is so true, That's so true.
Because whenever my husband and I first decided that we were going to do this, jokingly, we said, if anybody's going to screw up our kids, we're going to do it. We're not going to hand them off to somebody else for them to screw them up. We'll do it all by ourselves. But they're not. They're thriving. Yeah. And I would also say to find your people, to find your people, whether it's in person or on the internet. There are plenty of seasoned people out there that want to help you. They want to help you. So you can do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Thank you. So does your husband participate in homeschooling the children as well? So both of you do it?
He more like projects around the house. Right. When he does projects around the house, he encourages them to help him. We have a lot of projects around the house because we live on a small hobby farm. We have chickens, and he's working on repairing our fence and stuff like that. There's always stuff to do around the house, and he does that with them. Now, if there are times where I'm trying to do a one-on-one lesson with my older children, and then my toddlers are kind of rambunctious, he will take them and go, take them to the park, go for a walk, just go outside, lay down and take a nap or watch a movie, that sort of thing. So he's very supportive and helpful.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like he's also hands-on, even though he's not, full-time, because the fact that, when you want to do something with one of them, he actually take the younger ones away from the environment. So, to give you that time. Yeah. So thank you. So which one of you wanted to do homeschooling? Which one of you brought that idea forward?
I did. I actually had brought it forward before we had gotten engaged, and he wasn't 100% for it or against it, but his first question was, socialization. And then, life happened, and when our oldest two were old enough to enroll them in preschool, we almost went that route. And then I posed the opportunity of homeschooling, and he wasn't 100% for it then, but he's glad. Within 2-3 years, he was, we made the best decision ever. There's no regrets whatsoever.
Yeah, thank you. This is not unusual anyway in terms of most of this, on the show, most of the people who actually instigated homeschool is always the woman. And the men are always reluctant initially because it's a foreign territory for them, right?
But yeah, I think so the system's not really built to educate boys. Boys are hands-on. They're not sit down and do this book work. They are hands-on, and statistically speaking, boys drop out more than girls do. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So whenever those boys become men, they're, thinking that somewhere along the line that they weren't doing what was required, or they weren't thriving in that environment. So how could I do this? How could I do this if I couldn't do it then?
Yeah. It is so very true, because after 2 years or 18 months, then the father start turning around, because he realized that yes, there is value in this, and I could see improvement, and I could see my child thriving. So therefore, they come around very, very quickly when they see the results, which is so interesting.
What is this?
Do you want to?
Where's the wire?
I was just asking him if he wants to show us what he's been doing.
Do you want to show her? He's been painting. If you can tell by his face.
Show us your picture, please, darling.
Where's your picture? Go get your picture. She wants to see your picture.
So you do a lot of you say you teach your 5-year-olds through play. So you use play as a fundamental part of your learning for that age group.
Yes. Whether he's, helping me put away the dishes. Let's count the forks. How many forks do we have here? 1, 2, 3. Or we're outside feeding the chickens. I'll tell him that we need to feed them a certain amount of scoops. Or, we're sitting somewhere, and which shapes do you see? What's this color? That sort of thing. Play is everywhere, and they're also problem solving and working through things. Like sometimes play can be frustrating. Like they want to be able to have this toy, and their sibling is playing with it, and they have to work through not having their expectations being met, and having to wait and be patient, and sharing. Sometimes adults can't even share properly.
Exactly. So there you are in terms of collaboration, isn't it? Group work, isn't it? So it's like all of that, they're actually having a live session. No pretense, it's a live session they're having, because that's really what's taking place at home, isn't it? Your siblings have the toy you want to use. So therefore, you have to share, you have to negotiate, you have to, find a way to problem solve that. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, here's his art. He said he was painting.
That's very good.
All black.
Okay.
A lot of paint.
Oh, yeah, well, that's his expression, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, Ashley, is there anything else you want to tell us before we say goodbye?
No, wait. Thank you. Thank you definitely for this opportunity. I appreciate it, and I hope I helped at least one person feel a little bit more confident about stepping forward into the unknown, because it is scary doing something different. But it's worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think that's the reassuring bit, that it is scary, but it's worth it. So, it's like, feel the fear, but do it anyway, because you're doing it for a positive cause, because you see your child or children thrive. So that definitely is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So another quick thing is, so how long you intend to homeschool for?
The whole way through. We have no intentions in sending them to traditional schooling.
Right.
Those are our intentions.
Okay, so in terms of going through for secondary and then going through in terms of university,
Well, if they have a desire. 1 second, please.
Yeah, that's one of the things of when you're homeschooling and the children are around. It is like the natural environment whereby certain things need fulfilling. They need certain things to be done. You trying to do something with them and or do something with someone else, like in this case, Ashley was talking to me regarding the home education, and they have a need, so therefore that need to be met. Yeah.
So like I was saying, if they would want to go to university and college, that would be their desire. We would encourage that. But if not, then not. There's definitely opportunities within trade schools. I mean, we in short, we've told an entire generation that trade schools and stuff like that doesn't matter. That hands-on work doesn't matter. That in order to succeed in this world, you need a college degree, and
Yeah.
it's not true.
Exactly.
It's not true at all.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's
Exactly.
whatever their passions are.
Yeah.
That's what we will encourage.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, because it means that you are actually teaching them according to the passion, instead of trying to fit them a square peg into a round hole, which doesn't work at all, eh?
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, because you have a lot of these kids. They're growing up and they're getting these college degrees, and then they get out of college and they can't find anything to do with the degree.
Yeah.
And they've spent thousands, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they have to spend a very large amount of time paying back, and not being able to find the jobs or that fits the career that they wanted.
Yeah, that is very true. Is that paint you have on your face?
Yes, he was painting very hard.
Exactly. There's paint everywhere, isn't it? You got paint everywhere. Are you going to say hello to me? Hello. What's your name? Tell me your name. Introduce yourself. Tell me your name. Tell us your name. Are you going to tell us your name? Or are you suddenly become shy?
This is Noah.
Did you say Noah?
Noah, yeah, Noah.
Hi, Noah. Say hello to us then. And you're going to say hello. All of a sudden you become shy. Okay.
Yeah, he's been very catty in the background.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much, Ashley, for sharing your journey with us. And Noah actually coming and sharing us what he's done, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. But Noah, you could actually have a conversation with us, but never mind, you're a little bit shy today. So probably next time you're going to be coming on the show with your mom again to tell us what you've been doing and how you enjoyed homeschooling. Yes? Okay.
You think so?
Okay. Thank you very much, Ashley. And if you know anybody who wants to come and share the journey with us, because every homeschooling journey is different, because every child needs a difference. So what works for you in terms of your family may not work for another family. So, if someone wants to come and share the journey, tell them, feel free to contact me to share the journey with us. So thank you so very much for coming online to share your journey with us. Greatly appreciated. Are you now talking? No, are you talking to me now? Okay. So
no, he was noticing my paint on my fingers.
Okay. Very good.
My fingers are dirty.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much. So have a fantastic evening. Take care, Facebook audience, and speak to you guys soon.
Okay.